Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for being part of today's episode of Daily Connections. This is Seneca Waugh with Your Clear Next Step, and I am so glad you're here with us today. Today is Monday, the 6th of April. This is a Monday edition, which means we've got kind of some harder hitting topics this morning. We had some lighter stuff on Friday, but we've got some harder hitting topics this morning to cover with you, and so I'm glad you're here for that conversation. Today's topic in particular is around going the extra mile. You know, I have always believed that we as communicators, it's our responsibility to go the extra mile. I've always believed that if we have learned the skills of effective communication, if we have found the way to connect with others and to really understand that communication really is about the other person, and it's not about me and what I want and what's easier for me, it's about the other person and what they need, then it becomes my job and my responsibility as the communicator to go the extra mile, right? If I lob you a message and I hope that you got it, it's not my job to just stop there. It's my job to then run over to you and help you make sure that you've caught that and lob it back so that we can have that flow and exchange of communication. So as I've thought about that, and I thought about the application of that, especially right now in, going on beginning our third week of COVID-19, the distance learning and the distance working and the distance socializing that we're encountering in our society right now. As I got to thinking about that, well, what does that mean to go the extra mile? I would say for a fair number of us, the last couple weeks in particular have been let's do what we can do to survive. Where I know when my kids were super little, I remember being really, really frustrated. I was a brand new business owner and my kids were toddlers. And I remember uttering to my husband, but survival is not enough, right? Survival wasn't enough. I wanted more than that. But these last few weeks, I think, or last couple of weeks, I think survival has been kind of where our brains are at. How do we make it through? How do we survive this crisis? How do we focus on staying whole? How do we focus on staying positive? Just kind of not doing the bare minimum, but focusing on survival more than anything else. And I think many of us right now are done with that. Have had enough. I think I've heard it referred to as crisis fatigue. I think there's impatience out there. There's intolerance. There's, all right, let's move on already. And I'm thinking about, for so many of us, the last couple of weeks have been like, okay, I can't go the extra mile. I barely have the energy to get out of bed. And the things that I used to do and that I used to do well and that used to go easily for me are harder. And so I don't have the energy to go that extra mile. And I think we've turned a corner for some of us, that enough time has passed and we've had an opportunity to grieve and we've had an opportunity to think about the uncertainty and kind of deal with our own response to that now it's time to kind of pick ourselves up by our bootstraps for some of us. For those who are ready for that, I'm not advocating this for everyone, but for those who are ready and kind of impatient for what's next, I would say now it's our turn to go the extra mile. And so what does that mean? From a communication standpoint, of course, that means going the extra mile to make sure that the other person received my message. So if we're working together and I send you an email, going the extra mile means really making sure that you've got that, maybe putting in a phone call or following up with a chat or, going that extra mile just to make sure you got the message. As I'm preparing a communication, going the extra mile is the not being lazy. It's the reading through the message again to make sure that I've used the right words and that I've used the right words in the right context and that I really did say what I meant to say and that I've thought about how the other person will answer it or will receive it. I was just teaching a class last week on communication. And I was talking about our job as communicators to go that extra mile to make sure the other person really had it. And a person pushed back and then another one chimed in and said, whoa, hang on a second. I'm not sure I buy in on this. I'm not sure I really believe it is my responsibility to go the extra mile. I mean, shouldn't the listener have some accountability here too? And I think any one of us could look around and go, well, shouldn't my colleague have a little extra accountability here too? Shouldn't my kids chime in and participate here too? And shouldn't my spouse, shouldn't my so-and-so, shouldn't my boss, shouldn't my company, shouldn't my? And then we get into this conversation where we're like, well, okay, maybe they should, but I can't coach them, right? I can't control them. I can't tell them what to do. The only thing I can do is fix me. The only thing I can do is coach me. The only thing I can do is coach the person directly in front of me and model the behaviors that I'm looking to get back. So as communicators and leaders, we talked about communicators. Let's move on to leaders. Going the extra mile as leaders and as influencers. those of us who have the privilege of being leaders. People didn't give us that leadership right without us earning it, right? We had to earn that. We had to invest in that, and we went the extra mile for some period of time. And you think about influencers. People don't just become influencers. They become influencers by going the extra mile and really making sure that their message is clear and making sure that they know what they're doing, and they're putting out that little extra bit of effort. As employees, I think we can be going the extra mile at this point. We can be making sure that our communications are clear. We can be making sure that our, timesheets are up to date. Make sure that we're looking around, going, what can I do with? Since I'm grateful to have a job in those cases where those of us who are still employed, what can I be doing to contribute to the good of the company? As customers, what can I be doing? Many of us are going that extra mile as customers, right? I've got a small business that I love, and so I'm supporting them. I'm going that extra mile to support them and to go pick up the meal to go in a situation that, yeah, it's a little bit more awkward, but I'm doing it. As vendors, are there things we can be doing as if we're a vendor partner for someone to go the extra mile for our customers? We're reaching out and making sure our services are easy for them to get to, and making sure that they have what they need. Are we going the extra mile to let them know? As colleagues, are we going the extra mile? Are we reaching out to our colleagues and our fellow employees? And I know there was an example on Friday where someone had joined our Friday call because someone else had gone the extra mile and said, I think this might be good for you. This might be just what you were looking for. And so there's a great example of going the extra mile as colleagues. Maybe it's up to us now to check in on someone else, or to go ahead and set up that Zoom call so that someone else doesn't have to, or to send something rather than waiting for the other person to initiate. I don't know. I think there's something there we could do to go the extra mile as colleagues. As friends, think about the friendships that you have and the friendships that form over habits. Maybe now is the time to go the extra mile. Maybe you're the one who usually gets the text from the other person. Maybe it's your turn. Maybe now is the moment to reach out and go that extra mile and text, or pick up the phone and call, or if you want to FaceTime because you want to do one of those virtual happy hour things, but they don't have an iPhone and so FaceTime doesn't work, then go the extra mile and figure out what app they do have and what can you use. As family members, whether you're living in the same household or not, I think there's some extra mile that we can go to those who are far away. We can call them. I know that my family has had a history. I call my mom in particular every Thursday night, and I call her. She drives me home. So whatever I'm doing in town, wherever I am, whatever client I've worked at, when I get in the car to go home on Thursdays, I pick up the phone and I call mom. And so mom drives me home on Thursday evenings. Well, I haven't gone anywhere in Thursday evenings in a bit. And so, well, it's easy to say, well, I'm out of the habit. I guess I don't call mom. Maybe I need to go the extra mile and find other opportunities to reach out to mom and connect with her and see how she's doing, and find something else that's routine based and consistent that would be useful and meaningful for her, even if it has nothing to do with my drive home on Thursdays. Family members who are in the house, we've all got to be just a little bit more patient and a little more tolerant of each other in the house right now, right? There are extra bodies. There are extra noises. There are extra users of the internet. There are extra people who need moments of quiet. Maybe it's time to go the extra mile for the people that we live with. Can we cook a meal? Can we put a dish away? Can we move the laundry from one place to the next? Can we be more sensitive about closing a door behind us if we're making a racket somewhere? Can we offer to jump off the internet and use our cell phones while they are having that particularly important call? What can we do to go the extra mile? As citizens right now in our particular world environment, what can we do to be good citizens? Can we do something to model good standards, to encourage people, to help keep our families safe? Are there masks that we can make? Are there sidewalk reminders we can put out there? What can we do to go the extra mile to be good citizens and good stewards of the resources that we have? So that's kind of the Joel, I just saw your comment. That's kind of the gist that I've got right now, is kind of thinking, what can we do? Those of us who are ready to say, okay, I don't think I want another week of crisis. I don't think I want to focus on me for another week. I don't think I want to focus on reacting. I want to do more. What can I do, and what does that look like? So that's today's topic, is let's see if we can go the extra mile And what might that look like? And I'm just trying to spark some ideas, and then hopefully in our conversation, we can have some other ideas come up as well. This is all part of your Clear Next Steps mission to help us have better work days, so that at the end of better work days, we can drive home safer and we can have better weekends and contribute to better communities.